Alright, so here's part two of this awesome burnt maple burst guitar body. This is a flame maple top that I stained in video one. You can see me applying this burnt maple coloring with Angelus black leather dye as a base and brown and red as the feathering. Literally, you're going to be watching paint dry today via voiceover here, but wanted to show you guys my part two using super glue as a finish and how I got this incredible buff out of it. This is after the first buffing. I still need to go back and clean this up a little bit, and you'll see that at the end here. We're going to be using some GluBoost today, just like we did on the Buckeye Burl guitar. And I had a little bit of trouble applying this initially, and I didn't realize that till I got about halfway through the top here. And what was happening is, even though I used sanding sealer to sort of seal in the color, GluBoost actually picked up a little bit of that color. And what I found was the trick to sort of avoid that is take a little bit on the rag, brush it, and then leave it. Don't actually try and rub it in too much. So I rubbed it in to the maple, to the Buckeye Burl top a lot, so sort of to get it to dry quicker. Here, as I'm watching what I'm doing, I'm realizing as I rub it in, I'm picking up a little bit of color, which I did not want to do. So the trick here to avoid that, if you've got a dye down, even with the sanding sealer, is to put a little bit down, stop, and then move on to the next spot. That way you won't get any color lifting. Usually I don't see color lifting once I use a sanding sealer, but this time it was a little bit. So just apply a little bit, let it sit, and then move on to your next spot. I think this is probably where I had my sort of biggest mistake, where the coloring sort of bled in a little bit more, was I didn't have enough sanding sealer on the top there, and the glue sort of pulled down a little bit more red than I wanted to do. So once I figured out what was actually happening here, I let it dry and then came back and applied 3 more coats once that first coat was dry. So we let this dry about 24 hours on each coat. Each application took me about 3 minutes, and you can see that in the broken up segments coming up. I tried to condense this video down as much as I could so you guys actually just didn't watch glue dry. But it did take about 3 to 5 minutes to apply 1 full layer of glue. So I went back, applied, and then flipped it over and applied it on the other side as well. The trick for me here, I found, was to apply 3 coats, let it dry, and then take a sander and sort of level sand with what you've got. I was a little bit nervous sanding with the 3 thin coats, but I realized that finish built a little bit more than what I was expecting, and so I was fine sanding at 3 coats. So we'll do this with the top. I got a little bit of orange peel, more orange peel than I would have liked. I think probably if I do this again on a figured body, I'm actually going to sand starting at 180 back up. Here I just sanded with 600 to just sort of clean up some of the sanding marks that I found. But I think moving forward, what I would do is sand down starting with 180 and go back all the way up to 600. I think as this body sat for a little bit, some of the grain sort of moved a little bit. So like I said, I do 3 coats on each side, and then I sand, and then I went back and applied 3 more coats and sanded again. And then after that, I realized there were a couple pockets here and there where I didn't get the glue to sit correctly, and then I went back, and that wasn't filmed, and applied glue and sanded again. So this wasn't as quick as the Buckeye Burl. I think the Buckeye Burl was really, really quick. I could have done that in a day. When this customer wanted me to do this, I thought it would be, I could do this in a week and I would be done. But with the color lifting and then having some gaps in how it was applied in terms of the wood moving, wasn't as quick as I thought. And so what I thought would be a week has actually turned into a month, and that was not what I was expecting. The coloring took a little bit longer to get right, and then getting the glue to sit properly was a little bit more difficult than I thought. I still do love GluBoost.
I will definitely be using this again moving forward. Just when you color the top, you got to make sure that you apply just a little bit and let it sit and dry. That way you're actually locking in the color. I think the glue and the sanding sealer sort of react slightly. And on the back side here, I didn't really have any bleeding anywhere because I knew it was happening. So this is the second to last sanding. I got it all cleaned up, and then after I sanded it, I realized I had a couple more spots I needed to work on. So I went back and applied and sanded one more time, and I've got it pretty level at this point. So once we're level, we'll take this to my custom-made buffer. I've got great large 12-inch buffs on here that I got from Grizzly. Put this thing together. It's in an older video of mine. And you can see after that first initial buff, it's looking really good. Buffing usually takes a little bit of time to get right in terms of a feel. I've got the guitar body leveraged in my hand and on my hip, and I'm going back and forth. Overall, I think this process took about 15 minutes for this first buff, and you can see after about the first 5 here on the front, it's looking really good. I needed to really sort of spot check this in better light, and that's why I had to come back and do a second sort of sanding cleanup. But the back looks great, the front looks really nice. Really, really neat finish. Really apply. I like that it goes on real thin. So now here, this is after the second buff. I took some pictures of the front and the back here. And really the SuperGlue is an incredible finish. It's easy to apply. Just got to do it in a safe environment where you've got a fan running and you've got some gloves on. Overall, this guitar came out really nice. Took a little bit longer than I would have liked, but really cool finish and really cool stain job. So thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video.
I still need to go back and clean